the dark side of deal packages and why HMRC is coming from them. If you're a UK property investor and you've ever paid a sourcing fee, you need to hear this before you wire another pound, because right now, around 9 out of 10 property sourcing companies NAPSA checked were missing at least one legal registration. Most people selling you deals are operating on the wrong side of the line. And when it goes wrong, you're the one who loses the money, not them. In this video, I'm going to show you how dirty this sector actually is, the 3 ways bad sourcers quietly destroy investor portfolios, and a simple checklist you can use in 5 minutes to filter out 90% of the cowboys. Now stay with me, this could literally save you tens of thousands of pounds. I'm talking to you as someone who works in UK property every day, watching deals live or die based on the quality of the people involved. I've seen investors do everything right on the numbers and still get wiped out because they trusted the wrong person to bring them the deal. Not because the yield was wrong, not because the refurb went over, but because the sourcing agent was non-compliant, uninsured, or just didn't care. You're about to learn how never to be that investor, the uncomfortable truth about sourcing agents. So let's start with the ugly truth. The UK government estimates billions are laundered through property every single year. Now, most people think of central London penthouses and offshore companies, but there's a whole other side of the market. WhatsApp groups punting BMV deals, Facebook posts shouting about off-market HMOs 30% ROI, deal packages who've done one course and now want your sourcing fee. On paper, these people are supposed to be treated like estate agents for regulation. In reality, most are acting like swapping Pokemon cards in the school playground. NAPSA looked at hundreds of property sourcing companies that were supposedly legit, active businesses. Roughly 9 in 10 were missing at least one legal requirement. No HMRC AML supervision, no ICO registration, no redress scheme. Many didn't even use the correct SIC code that identifies them as dealing in property. So when you send them a sourcing fee, here's what's actually happening. You're wiring thousands of pounds to a business that might not legitimately exist in a way you think, with no official oversight, no mandatory complaints route, and often no insurance that covers what they're doing. Now, if that doesn't make your stomach drop, it definitely should. Let me break down the 3 main ways bad sourcers quietly wreck investors. So the first is regulatory landmines. A non-compliant sourcer is a magnet for HMRC. If they're not registered for AML, not doing proper checks, not keeping documents, they're exactly the kind of business that gets investigated and fined. Best case, your deal gets delayed or falls apart midway because your sourcer is under scrutiny. Now, worst case, you've now wired money to someone HMRC believes is helping launder funds. You get questions, your bank gets nervous, your name goes into systems you do not want to be in. All because you just wanted a good deal. No recourse when it goes wrong. If the agent is not in a government-approved redress scheme and they mess you around, where do you go? You can threaten legal action, you can rant on Facebook, but if you don't have a structured complaints process with an independent body that can actually enforce anything, you're basically hoping the person who just cost you money suddenly grows a conscience. This is not a strategy. False confidence from garbage training. Now, the training side of the industry is wild. You've got people being told they can be fully compliant in 10 minutes, or that they can sell you your deal through someone else's company and magically borrow that compliance. They come out believing that they know what they're doing. HMRC disagrees. So you, the investor, see nice logos, I've taken X course, maybe even a badge on the website, and you assume that means they're safe. It doesn't. Now let's flip it, because good sourcing agents do exist. Now, if you're smart, they become one of the most valuable partners in your portfolio. So what does a professional sourcer look like? First, registration's an absolute minimum requirement. They should be able to prove HMRC registration for AML supervision, ICO registration for data protection, membership of a government-approved redress scheme, TPO or PRS. If they're a NAPSA-approved agent, that means they've gone through a 25-point compliance and professionalism check. To date, none of those agents have been fined by HMRC or the redress scheme. Ask them the question directly. Are you registered with HMRC for AML, the ICO, and a redress scheme? Send me your certificates. Now, if they hesitate, change the subject or say, I'm sorting that. You've got your answer, walk away. Second is paperwork and insurance. So you should receive a clear terms of business, not just an NDA. That document should spell out what they do, what they will not do, exactly what you pay and when. What happens if a deal falls through, cancellation and complaints. Then there's insurance. They must have professional indemnity insurance that explicitly covers property sourcing, not just property services, not just estate agency. Ask to see the wording or a letter from their insurer confirming it. If their project managing works, they need to cover that too. Competence in your area and strategy. A compliant idiot can still lose you money. So in the conversation, test them. Have you actually done deals of this type before? Do they understand local planning, licensing, Article 4, lender criteria? Can they explain the strategy in plain English without bluffing? If all they can talk about is ROI and below market value transactions, but can't walk you through risks, timeline, and exits, they're not ready to handle your cash. Now, let me give you a simple rule. Before you ever pay a sourcer, stop and run this 5-minute checklist. First is search their company on Companies House. Do they look real? Is the business active? Do they have the SIC code 68310 or similar and clearly shows what they do? If they're trading off a personal name or the company data looks like it was thrown together yesterday, that's a red flag. Ask for a proof of registrations. Please send me copies of your HMRC AML supervision registration, your ICO registration, your redress scheme membership. If they can't or won't send these, you're done. Ask for proof of insurance. Send me your PI insurance schedule covering property sourcing and the limit. You're looking for at least 100 grand worth of cover. More is better. Read the contract slowly. If they try to get you to sign an NDA and if it's a contract to work together, that is a problem. You want proper terms of business that clearly spells out fees, what happens if the deal fails for reasons outside your control, and how complaints are handled. Check if they're independently vetted. If they're on NAPS's platform, that's a strong sign they've been through a serious review. If they're not, it doesn't make them automatically bad, but it means you have to do more of the work yourself. Now, here's the part no one likes to admit. Most investors who get burned by sourcing agents knew something felt off. The WhatsApp chat was messy, the paperwork was rushed, the person on the other end was too busy to jump on a proper call. Fees had to be paid today. But greed and fear of missing out are powerful. You see 25% ROI and your brain shuts down. I get it. I've made decisions like that too in different businesses and I've definitely paid for them. What separates the investors who build long-term portfolios from the ones who just collect horror stories is this. Slow down for 5 minutes. They check compliance. They demand professionalism. They're willing to walk away from any deal that doesn't meet that standard. Now remember this, if the sourcing agent is sloppy with their own business, why would you ever trust them with yours? So here's what I want you to do. Before you work with another sourcer, run the 5-minute checklist we just walked through. Only pay people who can prove they're compliant and covered, and treat any resistance as the biggest red flag you'll ever get. Now, if you found this helpful and you want a simple written version of that checklist plus links to official guidance and NAPS's investor resources, check the description below. Protect your money first, then go find deals with people who actually deserve your trust.